Great. Okay. Welcome. My name is Christopher McLaughlin-Brooks. I am the CIO at Parallels and a 20-year industry veteran. We're here today to talk about the issue of managing Macs in a Windows environment. To get started, I'd like to tell you a little bit about Parallels. We are headquartered in Renton, Washington, and employ about 1,000 people worldwide. There are two businesses we focus on. First, our cloud service enablement, which provides the technology that powers service providers like GoDaddy and One-in-One. We currently serve more than 9,000 service providers who help more than 10 million small businesses around the world. Lots of feedback.
Why is it doing that noise?
Wow. Hello. Hello.
So if you turn the microphone off, can you hear me?
One.
Oh, right, of course.
How about this?
I'm not wearing any jewelry, any watches. I don't have a necklace or anything like that on. Can you hear me now? Okay. There's still a faint hum, but...
Yeah, what is? Could it be it's coming from this thing?
Is it coming from that?
Yeah, what is the noise? So maybe microphone speaking it up.
Well, that's going to be a problem.
Do you think it's this QA microphone?
You know what? You gotta step away from it. Maybe I'm getting it because you guys are.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking. Okay, can you hear me? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Does it
no, I
work?
don't have you. Okay, talk to me.
Yeah, I'm talking.
Whoa.
Хорошо, что решили проверить.
So it's when they're on and we're close to each other.
Can you try to switch off that one?
This one right here.
So the second I turn my mic off.
1, 2, 3. Is it better now? No? Can you put us on the air? Do you hear us? Can you? 1, 2, 3.
Hello.
1, 2, 3.
Charles, you should switch your
Mic
mic
check.
off till the moment you go on stage.
Yep.
Because it will be doing the same as that mic. Okay?
Yep.
Try it.
Try
Mic check.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
All right. I don't hear any feedback now.
Me too.
Yeah, seems good.
Okay.
Charles, and can you try just the very back, if it's okay for hearing there? Obviously, there will be some people, and it will be worse, but you should be easily listen to us and hear us. Do you hear well? Good?
Okay.
Okay.
Let's
So
start. Let's start.
Let's take it from the top.
Yep.
Welcome. My name is Christopher McLaughlin-Brooks. I am the CIO at Parallels and a 20-year industry veteran. We're here today to talk about the issue of managing Macs in a Windows environment. I'd like to get started by telling you a little bit about Parallels. We are headquartered in Renton, Washington, and employ about 1,000 people worldwide. There are two businesses we focus on. First, our cloud service enablement, which provides the technology that powers service providers like GoDaddy and One-in-One. We currently serve more than 9,000 service providers who help more than 10 million businesses worldwide. The other side of our business is what we're best known for, Parallels Desktop for the Mac. This is the best-selling solution for running Windows on a Mac environment, and it's our deep understanding of how to make Mac and Windows work well together that brings us here today. Today we'll be talking about our expertise in blending a Windows and Mac OS environment and how that makes a natural extension for us to provide management capabilities for the Mac, iPads, and iPhones. So, relax, enjoy the briefing, and at the end there'll be ample time for questions. So it's all about leverage. Parallels is well known for its expertise in integrating the Windows and Mac platform. Now we're extending that great foundation and building best-of-breed tools to manage Macs, iPads, and iPhones at the enterprise level. But more on that later. And now let me introduce the team. We have a great team assembled here today to talk to you about Parallels Management Suite, a team we hope you can learn from but relate to, as they are tasked with many of the same challenges you face every day in your organizations. Let me take a few minutes to introduce them to you. Nick Drobulwolski. We are excited to have Nick here today to present to you. He is one of the co-founders of Parallels and heads up our desktop virtualization business. He has been a lead person on our engineering team for our management suite, and for the past 24 months I'm sorry, Nick, let me go back. We are excited to have Nick here to present to you today. He is one of the co-founders of Parallels and heads up our desktop virtualization business. He has been leading the engineering team for our management suite for the past 24 months and has lots of information to share with you. Yuri Everkeefe. Yuri is the program manager for Parallels Management Suite. He has been working with Nick on the development of this product and is the key technical resource for customers who are deploying Parallels Management Suite. Charles LaRue in the audience. Charles LaRue is one of my key team members. He's also responsible for our internal deployment of SCCM 2012 R1, as well as the Parallels Management Suite. So the reason we're all here today is to talk about Macs in the workplace. As IT professionals, we're all seeing Macs, iPads, and iPhone devices showing up at work, and they're no longer relegated to the advertising group or the designers. They're everywhere. As you can see from a recent Forrester report, in their surveys, half of enterprises are issuing Macs and plan to issue more. In our research, almost half of the large companies we surveyed have no security or management tools in place for the Mac. Half. From a CIO perspective, this is very alarming. It means that I have more and more non-Windows devices coming onto my network, and each device that's not managed is a potential attack vector into my network. I'd like to take a quick poll. How many of you in this room are using Mac-specific management tools other than SCCM today? Thank you. As a CIO, it's critical to start thinking about this. With budget shrinking and pressure to support BYOD, the reality is that networks that used to be quite secure are now insecure, and the vulnerabilities are growing exponentially. In fact, recently Gartner predicted by the end of next year, Apple will be as accepted by the enterprise as Microsoft is today. Think about that. For that to happen, we as IT professionals need to be able to manage Apple devices that are mostly unmanaged today. At Parallels, we talk to IT staff at every level of companies, and we hear the same thing over and over. We need a way to manage Apple devices. At the same time, budgets are tight, and the pressure to move quickly and efficiently is key. What most companies are struggling with now is how to address the Mac problem. One solution would be to use any number of Mac-specific management tools, and there are some good products on the market today. But that means significant investment in time and money, the cost to build out a separate set of infrastructure, the time and cost of hiring or training to get the skills needed to use that infrastructure. That can be a daunting price tag in today's economy. As I face these kinds of strategic decisions, this is what I think about. Is there a solution that can be standardized across my entire company? Are there solutions that can help me consolidate or unify my organization to maximize my resources, both people and dollars? How can I best use my limited budget to address this, but also be flexible to face unplanned changes within my organization? Wherever possible, I must leverage something that I already have. So as I've worked with engineering teams on our Mac management plugin, I brought that voice and those values to the table. With that, I'd like to hand the mic over to Nick and Yuri to walk you through our product.
Thank you, Christopher. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. And so let us talk a bit how you can manage Macs with SCCM environment. And the answer is very simple. Actually, you can do it in the same way as you manage Windows PCs now. So what are those things you care about on those Macs? First of all, you would like to know what kind of Macs are out there and what is the software which is installed on them. And you can get it through hardware and software inventory and include into standard reports and SCCM together with your Windows devices and their inventory. So the next thing, you would like to make sure those Macs are compliant with your corporate policies. So you want to push various configuration settings to them, like enforce password protection or set hardware drive to be encrypted, so enable File Vault 2, which is a similar technology to BitLocker on Windows. And we give you that ability by deploying configuration profiles to those Macs. Then, after all that is done, obviously you would like to send some software titles to install to those Macs, right, for your users to use them. And you can use software delivery for that in exactly the same way as you do it for Windows. Then, when somebody has a problem on that Mac, you have a remote assistance feature. Right from your SCCM console, you can connect to it and help that user which has a problem. And the last but maybe the most important thing would be we give you the ability to run your standard corporate Windows image together with Windows applications right on that Mac. With Parallels Desktop Enterprise, you can do it. Just deliver it, install, and run. So let's take a look a bit at the architecture of this solution. So as you can see on the right of the screen, the central part is the SCCM server itself. So this is not a separate management solution which is somehow integrated with SCCM. This is a fully integrated plugin, and everything works inside the SCCM. All your interaction with your Macs will be through the SCCM native console. And so what you need to do to enable your infrastructure for that? First, you need to install an ISV proxy. This is a Windows component from us, which works as a gateway for Macs to connect to SCCM. You can install it either on the SCCM server itself, or you can install on any Windows machine which has a connection to that SCCM server. Then on Mac, you need to install the Mac agent that actually talks to that ISV proxy and delivers all hardware, software information to SCCM, and also gets tasks back to do like configuration settings or to install some software. And then on every computer of your administrator where you have the SCCM management console, you need to install an extension pack that adds some Mac-specific functions to that management console so that you can use those dialogues to manage your Macs. And so this is what you need to do to enable your infrastructure. And when this is done, in order to actually start managing, The first thing to do is to enroll those Macs you have into SCCM. How do you do it? First, we have two ways to do it. One is you can do a network discovery, so you can scan your network, find all those Macs, and install the agent automatically on them. Or you can do a manual installation by yourself or by your users, for example. And we tried to simplify this as much as possible for you. So we provide a simple HTTP server which is installed automatically, and you can get an HTTP download link right from your SCCM management console. So you take this link, share it with your users, or use yourself, download the software to your Mac, start a simple installation wizard, go through a few steps where you can't make any mistake, and then you actually enroll, at the end of the process, you enroll this Mac into SCCM. The only thing you need to do is to provide your AD credentials. And I'd like Yuri to show us how this can be done in reality.
Yes, sure. Hi, everyone. First thing you will notice when you start working with Parallels Management Suite is how easy to install the product. This can be done in less than 15 minutes. And once installed, Parallels Management Suite seamlessly integrates into SCCM. It adds a couple of nodes in the left tree, a device collection for your Macs, and a few context menu items. But the real magic is happening under the hood. And Parallels Management Suite offers you two ways to enroll your Macs into SCCM. First way is to use network discovery, which on a schedule will scan your corporate network for Macs, detect your Macs, install client software, and enroll those Macs into SCCM automatically. Second way is a manual deployment. For example, if your organization supports Bring Your Own Device initiative, and everyone who brings a Mac into your company has to have it enrolled into SCCM. In this case, as Nick said, you can provide users with a download URL for the client software. Users will download it with a web browser and enroll it into SCCM themselves. I already have the installation wizard running here, so it's really straightforward. Just a few clicks to have it installed. Password. And enrollment and installation is a two-step process. First, I need to install the client software, and second step is to use enrollment wizard to have the Mac enrolled into SCCM. So the client has been enrolled, and the second step is to enroll Mac. And the only information you need to provide is an Active Directory credentials. But just to clarify, we can manage Macs which are joined to domain, as well as Macs which are not joined to a domain. And it takes about 5 seconds for a Mac to get enrolled into SCCM. Done. Let's go back to my SCCM installation. And if I navigate to the devices, normally you will see your Windows PCs here. But now there is a Mac, which I just enrolled into SCCM. And I can start using same tools I used to manage Windows PCs to manage this Mac. For example, I can open up Resource Explorer, and I can see hardware and software inventory information about this Mac. This is my MacBook Air. All the hardware is here, and the list of installed applications. And you can use this information as part of your SCCM reports or to build a custom device collection. Back to you, Christopher.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So now that I actually know what devices I have on my network, I can start to manage them. This is important to me for several reasons. First, if you're a public company, you're likely invested a tremendous amount of time and money on compliance for the PCs. This is everything from HIPAA to PCI compliance to Sarbanes-Oxley, and the list goes on. But if you're not a public company, you still have similar needs to the public companies. You still need to secure the devices that are on your network Second, compliance is key to risk management and mitigation. Nick and Yuri will now show you how the Parallels plugin lets me do this with the Macs, even deploying my own fully compliant Windows stack to all of my Mac users.
Sure. So once the Mac is enrolled to SCCM, the next step to do is to ensure that it complies to your policies. And the thing to do it is to push various configuration settings to that Mac. Typically, it is done by creating a configuration policy for Mac and deploying it to a set of Macs you have. You can enforce password restriction, or you can enable File Vault 2, which is hard drive encryption, similar to BitLocker on Windows, or you can set a VPN setting, connection, for example. So, and the process you do it in the same way as you do it for Windows. So you open up a nice GUI editor for those configuration settings, which we created specifically inside Management Console for you to be able to do that. And once it's created, you go through the standard SCCM configuration deployment process to deliver it to Macs. So, and I'd like to ask Yuri to show us how it happens.
Yeah, absolutely, Nick. Let's say I want to ensure that the Mac we enrolled in the previous demo complies with my organization policies. In case of a Windows PC, I would be using group policies to enforce rules and settings. In case of Macs, we need to use Mac OS X configuration profiles. And what we did, we extended desired configuration management functionality of SCCM with ability to create Mac OS X configuration profiles. And that's what I'm going to do now. This is a nice looking window which we created, which will allow you to create different policies which will be pushed to your Macs. For example, I can create a passcode policy, or I can specify an exchange settings. And there are tons of other settings that you can create and push to your managed Macs. But for demonstration purposes, I will create a policy which changes position of the dock window from the bottom of the screen to the right side. It's good for demos, right? And as you have probably noticed, I'm using standard SCCM workflow. First step is to create a configuration item. Second step is to create a baseline. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm creating a baseline, and then going to specify the item I just created. And that's it.
Stop. Turn it go.
Yep.
That's it. We are getting attendees to this session.
Sorry, what?
No,
Are
no,
we going to get attendees to this session now?
No, there's one at 2:45, but they start coming in about now.
About-
Okay, good.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Then
Okay.
we should likely stop.
Okay.
It is 2:17. Well, as long as the door is closed.
Yeah, still, I think we should.
You want to stop?
Because if somebody comes and we
Right.
have this. Good?
Yeah.
Do you hear me well?
I heard you quite clearly through the microphone.
Huh? Very
Yeah,
good.
I could hear the amplification. I mean, I can tell you're not using the microphone. Yeah, I can still hear you, though. No, you can hear it. You can hear it, yeah. It's not a big amplification, but there is some amplification.
But there is good. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it covers everybody in the room. Good. Good.
And I'll watch for people that seem to be straining. If they're straining, we'll do something. So what are your plans tonight? You should still go. Yeah? I think so.
Yeah, it was great. We're going to have an encore in about 30 minutes.
An encore. Welcome. My name is Christopher McLaughlin Brooks. I am the CIO for Parallels and a 20-year industry veteran. We're here today to talk about management of Mac devices in a Windows environment. Before we get into that, I'd like to kick us off by telling you a little bit about Parallels, the company. We are headquartered in Renton, Washington, just outside of Seattle. We employ about 1,000 people worldwide. There are two businesses that we focus on. First, our cloud service enablement business, which provides the technology that powers service providers like GoDaddy and 1&1. We currently serve more than 9,000 service providers who help more than 10 million small businesses around the world. The other side of our business is what we're best known for. That's Parallels Desktop for the Mac. This is the best-selling solution for running Windows on a Mac, and it's our deep understanding of how to make Mac and Windows work well together that brings us here today. So we'll be showing you how our expertise in blending the Windows and the Mac OS make it a natural extension for us to provide management capabilities for Macs, iPads, and iPhones. So relax, enjoy the briefing, and there'll be ample time at the end for questions. So it's all about leverage. Parallels is well known for its expertise in integrating the Windows and Mac platform. And now we're extending that great foundation and bringing the best-of-breed tools to manage Macs, iPads, and iPhones at the enterprise level. But more on that later. Now let me introduce you to the team. Can you guess which one I am? We have a great team assembled here today to speak to you about Parallels Management Suite, a team we hope you can learn from and relate to, as they are tasked with many of the same challenges that you face every day in your organizations. Let me take a few minutes to introduce them to you. Nick Drobowski. We are excited to have Nick here today. He is one of the co-founders of Parallels and heads up our desktop virtualization business. He has been leading the engineering team for our management suite for the past 24 months and has lots of information to share with you about the product. Yuri Everkiev.
Yep.
Yuri is the program manager for Parallels Management Suite. He's been working with Nick on the development of this product and is the key technical resource for customers who are deploying Parallels Management Suite. And in the audience, Charles LaRue. Charles is a key member of my team. When I need to know what's going on at the network at Parallels Inc., I turn to Charles for that information. He's also the lead for our internal Microsoft SCCM 2012 R1 implementation, as well as the Parallels Management Suite. So the reason we're all here today is to talk about Macs in the workplace. As IT professionals, we're all seeing Macs, iPads, and iPhone devices showing up at work. And they're no longer relegated to the advertising team, not to the designers. They're everywhere. They're on every desktop. As you can see from a recent Forrester report, in their survey, half of all enterprises are issuing Macs, and more are planned. In our research, almost half of the large companies surveyed have no security management tools in place for the Mac. Half. From a CIO perspective, this is a very alarming information. It means that I have more and more non-Windows devices coming onto my network, and each one of these unmanaged devices is a new attack vector into my company. I'd like to stop for a second and take a quick poll. How many of you in this room are using Mac-specific management tools other than SCCM? Okay. Yeah. As a CIO, it's critical to start thinking about this. With budget shrinking and pressure to support BYOD, bring your own device, the reality is that networks that used to be quite secure are now insecure, and the vulnerabilities are growing exponentially. In fact, recently Gartner predicted that by next year, Apple will be as accepted by the enterprise as Microsoft is today. Think about that. For that to happen, we as IT professionals must be able to manage Apple devices the same way that we manage our PCs. At Parallels, we talk to IT staff at every level of companies, and we hear the same thing over and over. We need a way to manage Apple devices. At the same time, our budget is tight, and the pressure to move quickly and efficiently is key. What most companies are struggling with is how to address the Mac management problem. One solution would be to use any number of Mac-specific management tools. There are some good products on the market today, but that means significant investment in time and money. The cost and time to build out a separate infrastructure, the time and cost of hiring or training to get the skills needed to support that extra infrastructure, that can be a daunting cost in today's market. So as I face these kinds of decisions, here's what I think about. Is there a solution that can be standardized across the entire company? Can we leverage something across the whole group versus having these pocket solutions? Are there solutions that can help me consolidate or unify my organization and maximize my resources, both people and data? Don't want to have the Mac team over here and the Windows team over there. Yeah. How can I best use my limited budget to address this, but also be flexible to face unplanned changes within my organization? I think most of us know about unplanned changes, right? Wherever possible, I must leverage something that I already have. So I've worked with the engineering team on our Mac management plugin, and I brought that voice and those values to the table here today. With that, I'd like to hand the mic over to Nick and Yuri, who'll walk you through the product.
Thank you, Christopher. Well, ladies and gentlemen, and so let's talk a bit about how you can manage Macs in your Windows enterprises. So the high-level answer is very simple. You can do it with Parallels Management Suite in the same way as you manage your Windows PCs. So what you care about on those Macs? First of all, likely you would like to know what Macs are out there and what kind of software is installed on them. And you can get it with hardware and software inventory right inside your SCCM. You can have it in Resource Explorer, in reports, etc. So right inside SCCM. The next thing, you would like to ensure that those Macs comply with your corporate IT policies, right? So you need push some settings to them, like enforce password protection or encrypt the hard drive. So enable Firewall 2, which is a technology similar to BitLocker on Mac. After that, you would like to install some software titles to those Macs for your users to use them. And you can do it, again, exactly in the same way as you deploy software to your Windows PC through SCCM software deployment. Then, actually, those are Macs, and you are Windows-based enterprises, mostly. So we give you the ability to run your standard corporate Windows images together with their applications on those Macs inside Parallels Desktop Enterprise Edition. And after that, if any of your users have a problem with his Mac, we give you an ability to remote assist just to see what happens on that screen right from the SCCM management console again. So let's take a look at the architecture of the solution. On the right side, there is the heart of our solution is the SCCM server itself. So this is not a separate management solution. This is a fully integrated add-on to the SCCM server. All the information stays inside the SCCM server in its database, and all the interactions with the Macs you do through the standard SCCM management console. So no other interfaces, no other systems to maintain. So what do you need to do to enable Mac management in the SCCM? First, you need to install the ISV proxy. This is a Windows component available from us. You can install it either on the server, SCCM server itself, or on any Windows machine in your infrastructure. Then you need to have a Mac agent running on a Mac that connects to that ISV proxy and actually passes all the information into the SCCM. And finally, all your administrators who run and use Management Console, they need to install console extensions on their machines to have access to those specific Mac operations right from their Management Console. Again, these are a set of like menus and dialogues available inside the Management Console. So once your infrastructure is set up, your SCCM infrastructure is set up for managing Macs, the next thing you need to do is you need to enroll your Macs into SCCM. And we have two ways of doing that. One would be to scan your network with the automatic network discovery, find all those Macs, and install agents on them automatically. Or you can go through a manual installation as a part of onboarding process for that Mac into your IT infrastructure. So for that, we also tried to simplify everything for you. So we provide a simple HTTP link, download link available right from your SCCM console. And ISV proxy actually works as a simple HTTP server as well to deliver those to you or to your users. So after that, you just share that link with your users, so use yourself. You download that package to your Mac. You go through a few simple wizard screens. And after that, the only thing you need to provide to enroll Mac to SCCM is to provide your AD credentials. And I'd like to ask Yuri to show how the Mac enrollment works.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. First thing you will notice when you start working with Parallels Management Suite is how easy to install the product. This can be done in less than 15 minutes. And once installed, Parallels Management Suite seamlessly integrates into SCCM user interface. We add a couple of nodes on the left here, a device collection for your Macs, and a few context menu items. But the real magic is happening under the hood. And Parallels Management Suite offers you two ways to enroll your Macs into SCCM. First method is automatic network discovery. It allows you to configure discovery, which on a schedule will scan your corporate network for Macs. It will attempt to detect your Macs, install client software, and have those Macs enrolled into SCCM automatically. And second method is manual enrollment. For example, if your organization supports bring your own device initiative, you can choose to ask everyone who brings Mac into your organization to have it enrolled into SCCM. And that's what I'm going to do during this demo. So I already have client software downloaded and the installation wizard running. And this is really straightforward process. I mean, anyone can do it. And I need to provide a password. And in a few seconds, it's going to be installed. And the second step is to enroll this Mac into SCCM, which is done with Enrollment Wizard. And the only information which you need to provide is your Active Directory credentials. And this is our Enrollment Wizard. And just to clarify, Parallels Management Suite can manage Macs which are joined to domain, as well as Macs which are not joined. And I'm providing my AD credentials. And in about 5 seconds, my Mac will be enrolled into SCCM. Successful. And let's switch back to SCCM and navigate to devices. Normally in this list, you will see your Windows PCs. But now there is a Mac in this list. And from this point, I can use same tools I use to manage Windows computers to manage Macs. For example, I can open up a Resource Explorer to view hardware and software inventory information. This is my demo Mac, MacBook Air, and all the hardware inventory information is here. I can also view software inventory information, and you can use this information to build custom SCCM reports or to create a device collection. Back to you, Christopher.
Thank you. Thank you, Yuri. Thank you, Nick. Now that I actually know what Apple devices I have on my network, I can start to manage them. This is important to me for several reasons. First, if you're a public company, you're likely have invested a ton of time and money on things like HIPAA, PCI compliance, Sarbanes-Oxley, and the list goes on. But even if you're not a public company, you still have similar needs to secure and control the devices on your network. Second, compliance is the key to risk management and mitigation. Nick and Yuri will now show you how the Parallels plugin lets me do this with the Mac, even deploying my own fully compliant Windows stack on my Mac.
Sure. So once Macs are enrolled, you want to make sure that they comply to your corporate policies. And on Macs, you do it with pushing the configuration profiles, which are similar to group policies in Windows. And we created a special, nice-looking GUI wizard, similar to what you have on Mac for creating those policies, but available right from the SCCM management console. And you can do all those things as we discussed enforce passwords, encrypt hard drives with firewall 2, and the list goes on. And I'd like to ask Yuri to show us.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's say I want to ensure that the Mac I enrolled during previous demo to comply with my organization policies. In case of Windows computers, you guys will be using group policies to push settings and policies. In the Mac world, you will need to use configuration profiles. And what we have done in our product, we extended desired configuration management functionality of SCCM with ability to create and push macOS 10 configuration profiles. So what I'm going to do is to create a macOS 10 configuration profile. And we designed this very nice looking window. And it allows you to push policy like a passcode, for example, or to push exchange settings. And there are tons of other settings that you can push with this. But for demonstration purposes, I'm going to create a policy which changes position of the dock window from the bottom of the window to the right. I mean, it's good for demos, right? And as you can probably notice, I'm using standard SCCM workflow. So the first step is to create a configuration item, and second step is to create a baseline. And that's what I'm going to do now. So I give it a name and specify the item I created in the previous step, doc. And that's it. Next step is to deploy this baseline to collection with my demo Mac. And by default, we create a single collection, which is called All macOS 10 Systems. And normally, our client, which is installed on the Mac, checks with SCCM every 60 minutes for updates, for new baselines or software packages. But we created a special command which will allow you to push a policy as soon as possible. So I go to my Mac and select this command, which we call machine policy retrieval and evaluation cycle. And what it does, it communicates with an agent installed on a Mac and notifies it that there are updates on SCCM. So the agent is going to check with SCCM and download new baselines. So let's switch back to my Mac. And shortly, it should receive the new policy. And as you can see, the policy has been received and applied. The dock moved to the right. Back to you, Nick.
Thank you, Yuri. So once you have configured and those Macs and are ensured that they comply to your policies, the next thing you would like to do, you would like to install some software for your users to use. Probably in some cases that can be only one software title, effectively Parallels Desktop Enterprise together with a Windows corporate image, which will contain all Windows applications which you need to run on those Macs. But you can do it in exactly the same way as you deploy software to your Windows workstation. So you create a package, you add it to a program, assign to a baseline, and then deploy to those collections which you select. And so let's deploy Parallels Desktop.
Yeah, sure, why not? So, as Nick said, one of the cool Parallels Management Suite capabilities is ability to deploy software. You can deploy any package, PKG, DMG package, and it will be silently deployed to a Mac and installed. And a real-life example, in Parallels, pretty much every employee who uses Mac has Parallels Desktop installed on it. And those people usually use Windows 7 or Windows 8 virtual machines. And we have started using Parallels Management Suite to actually deploy Parallels Desktop to our employees' desktops. And that's what I'm going to do in this demo. I'm going to create a standard SCCM package. I'm using native SCCM UI, and I need to give it a name. I also need to specify location of the installation package, which is conveniently placed on my desktop. And select, OK. And next step is to create a standard program. Again, it's a very standard SCCM workflow, nothing new. I need to provide a command line and skip through the rest of the pages. I also need to modify setting which is not available via wizard, which would be this one, and deploy this package to a collection with my Mac. I need to specify target collection, all macOS 10 systems, and I need to specify a distribution point, and to create a simple schedule. And I can skip through the rest of the pages. Now SCCM is going to create a local cache of this installation package. It should take it about 10 seconds or so to do so. The circle is supposed to turn green. Yeah. And again, normally client software would be checking for updates every 60 minutes. But we can use the same command we used in the previous step to notify client software about new package available on SCCM. It's machine policy retrieval and evaluation cycle. It takes about 7 to 10 seconds to execute. And we will switch to my Mac desktop. OK. And let's open up installed application folder. So if I go here, there is no Parallels Desktop installed on this Mac, not yet. But what is happening in the background is our client software, client agent, downloading package from SCCM and installing it. And by the way, together with Parallels Desktop, I'm deploying 2 virtual machines, or maybe 3 actually. And as you can see, the icon has appeared on the desktop. Let's try to run it. And it's about to start. And that's it. We just deployed Parallels Desktop on this notebook and 3 virtual machines. Back to you, Nick.
Thank you, Yuri. So effectively, what we just did, we deployed Parallels Desktop Enterprise together with Windows inside it and all Windows applications. So your Mac user is ready to work with your Windows applications. But if we think about it, this looks like bring your own device enabler, right? That you can bring that Mac, you can manage it, and you can run your Windows programs on it.
That's right. So I'd like to stop for a second and just poll the audience again. How many of you in your respective companies are dealing with the BYOD thing? Yeah. How many of you don't have control over those devices? Meaning you can't set policy, they may not have antivirus, whatever it might be. Yeah. So almost the same people. Yeah. Thank you. This is a huge problem as we are facing more and more of these personal devices on the network. These devices usually don't have antivirus, they don't have local firewalls, they don't have patching that's up to date. We don't have control of the devices. Yet, many of us are forced into this untenable situation where we must allow these devices onto our network. This is a product that can help us manage that.
So with Parallels Desktop, we have been enabling the ability to run Windows on Macs for about 7 years now. And we invested a lot of resources into making those Windows applications to appear very seamlessly on those Macs. So we even achieved the way when your Windows applications and Mac applications appear on the same screen at the same time that you even don't notice that those are Windows and not Mac applications. But obviously, we are thinking about enterprise settings as well. We allow you, in our Parallels Desktop Enterprise Edition, we allow you to have things like single license key for all installations, or control for the updates of the software, have that control in your hands in order to make sure nothing is broken. Or there is a get support menu inside the application, and we allow to show your enterprise information inside that, whom to call or whom to write an email to ask for help. And many things additional, like deployment package, which we just did. We simplified that deployment of Parallels Desktop Enterprise together with virtual machines to those Macs. And so once you have deployed that and have Parallels Desktop Enterprise with those virtual machines running, you have the full control of configuration right from SCCM of both Parallels Desktop and virtual machines. You can control things like, for example, if the user can copy-paste information from inside Windows to Mac and vice versa, etc. Can he attach USB devices, and will they be available inside Windows or not? And the list goes on. And so I'd like to ask Yuri again to show us how we can control those settings.
Yeah, sure. Let's say I want to ensure that the virtual machines that I just deployed, all of them use 2 GB of RAM, and I also want to enable some security features. I will be using, again, desired configuration functionality of SCCM to create a configuration item with virtual machine policy. So I will give it a name. And let's say I want to allocate 2 GB of RAM to virtual machines, as well as enable some security settings. Let's say I want to require users to provide password when they want to exit full screen, change virtual machine state, or to manage snapshots. Again, next step is to create a baseline for this item. And I'm going to create a baseline, call it VM, and I'm going to add configuration item I just created. And next step, as you probably guessed it, to deploy this baseline to my collection. So it's VM and deploy. Device collection and all macOS 10 systems. As usual, I will be using our special command to push this policy as soon as possible. And Parallels Management Tool, machine policy retrieval and evaluation cycle. And again, it should take about 7 to 10 seconds to execute. And we will switch to my Mac afterwards. OK. And what I have on the screen is a settings window for the virtual machine open here. And as you can see, those checkboxes are currently unchecked. But once our client software downloads baseline from a CCM and apply policy, they should actually change their state to checked. And that's what just happened. Back to you, Christopher.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So let's talk about mobile device management. Now, this crowd looks very young to me, so I don't know if this is going to work. Remember the days when mobile meant BlackBerry? Yeah? When you had your own proprietary BES infrastructure behind it, and you secured it, and you knew what was on it? Contrast that to today. Today, the proliferation of smartphones and tablets of all different brand names are invading IT. Yeah? So this has reduced our ability to secure the environment. Yeah? And it takes security out of IT's hands and puts it into the hands of the end user. Yeah? So the matrix of things that IT has to support has grown exponentially over the last few years. At Parallels, just like we did with our Mac expertise, we're leveraging our development team to bring the same approach to iPads and iPhones. I'm now going to ask Nick and Yuri to share with you the roadmap to bring iPad and iPhone devices to SCCM as well.
So we started with Macs, and this is what is available now. But in talks to you guys, we quickly understood that in reality, mobile devices bring even more pain to you, because nearly everybody has a smartphone in his pocket now and wants to connect to your corporate network to work with it, from it. And so we have started working on that, and we already have something in testing and want to demo to you here. And once we release it, you will be able to do things like hardware, software inventory, or pushing those configuration profiles similar to what you can push on Mac. Or you can obviously do remote lock and wipe, which is typically available. And in some cases, you can do software delivery when the platform allows it to do. We will start first with iOS support, meaning managing your iPads and iPhones. And after that, we will follow up with supporting Android devices as well. So let's take a look at the architecture of this solution. Again, it is the same as we have for Mac management. SCCM and the SCCM management console are the central parts. So the SCCM itself has all the information and works as a main engine. And the SCCM console is the main tool to interact and use those mobile device management commands, issue them to the devices. There is the same ISV proxy, which works as a gateway, and similar extensions for those mobile-specific functions. There is one more component, which is called MDM server. Effectively, this is an HTTP server based on Internet Information Server that should be available and accessible from the Internet in order for devices to talk to the SCCM infrastructure when they are on the go. We use Apple push notification servers to push the configuration profiles and commands to those devices, and then they talk to that MDM server to report back the inventory information and the results of those commands. And so I'd like to Yuri to do a sneak peek of what we have at this moment.
Yes, sure. So in my CCM, I have about half a dozen iPads and iPhones enrolled. They were enrolled via Parallels Management Suite MDM server. And they appear along my Windows computers and my Mac computer. And again, as in case with Macs, you can use same tools you use to manage Windows, PCs, and Macs with iOS devices. For example, I can open up Resource Explorer to view hardware inventory information. We support both agentless and agent-based management. In case of agentless enrollment, you will get limited hardware inventory information. But if an iOS device has a client installed, you will get full hardware and full software inventory information, as well as other extra features. That's just a sneak peek at what we currently have, but we are working on a configuration profile editor, so you will be able to create a policy and push it to your iPhone or iPad, log those devices, remote wipe, and other features. Back to you, Nick.
Thank you. So this was a quick demo of what we have now and what we plan in the nearest future. And let me quickly reiterate from that. So first of all, we support SCCM 2007 as well as SCCM 2012. By the way, how many of you use SCCM 2007 right now? And how many 2012? Has anybody upgraded to Service Pack 1? Yeah? Good. So good news, we support all of those. In terms of OS 10, we support 10.6, 10.7, and 10.8. So Snow Leopard, Lion, and Mountain Lion, all three are supported. You get functionality like hardware and software inventory. You can deploy configuration profiles. You can deploy software titles. You can enable Firewall 2, which is hard drive encryption, similar to BitLocker on Windows. You, of course, can deploy and manage Parallels desktop and virtual machines. And you can do remote assistance. So what we have internally now and plan to release in the coming months will be the OSD for Macs, so that you can deploy your OS 10 images to your Macs, provided you have a policy to purchase them and on board. You will have, of course, the patch management to make sure the systems are in an appropriate upgraded state. You will be able to configure Mac software titles on a self-service web portal that your users can choose what they want to have, and it will be provisioned and installed on their computers automatically. So mobile device management, which we just showed to you, and some enhanced SCCM integration, which will include internet-based management, more customizations in those wizards available to use, and support of software distribution via the application model. And also, we are going to introduce some additional custom SCCM reports, which will give you the ability to report more about your Macs and your mobile devices. Thanks, and back to you, Chris.
Thank you very much. So now I'm going to open it up for that Q&A session that I talked about. I'll kick it off in just a second, but if I could just ask you to come up to the microphone if you do have a question that you'd like to ask. But I'll kick it off today by asking a couple of questions that have been asked to me by a number of you as I've walked around the hallways and stood in the booth. What is the key difference between the Parallels Management Suite and SCCM 2012 R1?
And I guess I will answer this question. So we actually prepared a slide for this. And if you go line by line, first we support first line support is the same. We support 10.6, 10.7, and 10.8. Same as in case with Service Pack 1. In case of network discovery, with Parallels Management Suite, you get both automatic network scan and enrollment, and manual enrollment. In case of Service Pack 1, the only option you have is a manual enrollment. Hardware and software inventory information is the same. We are on par here. And with regards of deploying software packages, in case of if you are using Service Pack 1, there is an extra step involved. First, you need to take your PKG or DMG file through a special repackager tool. So it's an extra step, and you will have more time. You will spend more time doing so. In case of Parallels Management Suite, you can take your Microsoft Office installation package and deploy it straight away. And the next is most interesting item, actually. So macOS 10 configuration profiles. And a picture probably says 1,000 words. As I showed in one of my demos, can we switch to my Mac? This is Parallels Management Suite macOS 10 configuration profile editor. It's very easy to use. I mean, a Windows administrator will be able to use this window. I mean, no pun intended, right?
Easy to use, really easy.
And let's take a look at Service Pack 1 implementation of similar feature. We will need to create a configuration item, give it some name, macOS 10, next. And this is the UI you get. Let's say I want to modify 30 parameters. So for each parameter I want to change, I will need to click on the New button. And oops, I get this nice looking window. So basically, all the editing has to be done via this text box. You will need to put plist values, and you need to have a deep knowledge and understanding of macOS 10 configuration settings. You also need to provide a data type, and good luck using it, I mean.
And in reality, that's true. You need to know where the exact parameters stays inside OS 10 internals. So I work with Macs for 7 years now, but for many parameters, I don't know where they, and they are quite hidden very deeply, very often. And if you mistype, nobody will tell you.
And
so
again,
it will simply not work.
And this is Parallels Management Suite. So
here it's just choose and click.
And can we switch back to the PowerPoint? And next is we support firewall 2 policies. We are not supported by Service Pack 1 at all. We do provide some remote assistant features. Again, you will find none in Service Pack 1. And what we mean by this last line is that we provide special support for managing Parallels desktop virtual machines and its features. So hopefully I answered your question, Chris.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So the second question I'm going to direct to Charles, because he was responsible for the internal deployment of Parallels Management Suite. If you haven't guessed, we are the first customers. So Charles, I tasked you with implementing the Parallels Management Suite at Parallels. If I recall, we had 3 distinct goals. The first goal was to provide a discovery of all of the Macs on our network. Did we accomplish that?
Yes, we did.
Great. Can we use this product to control the Macs within our environment at Parallels?
You can, as everybody has seen here, it's part of the SCCM platform. So when we're talking about managing the Macs, it's the same thing as managing the Windows environment. Anybody who's used SCCM will innately be able to use the Parallels Management Suite instantly. It's just very easy.
And so the third thing was something very near and dear to my heart. We have a bit of a BYOD issue at Parallels Inc. And Charles, do you think this product has solved the BYOD issue?
Yes. Good answer, right?
Surprising.
Right. It really allowed me, I was able to leverage SCCM to discover my network very quickly and bring to me all the devices that were running rampant in my network, and then be able to control them. So, yes.
So just one more thing. So just imagine there was a vulnerability with Java 1.4. Just use your imagination and try to think of that impossible scenario. I need to go through and find all of the instances of Java 1.4. I need to upgrade. Can we do that?
We can, and believe it or not, in my world it has happened where we were tasked on finding all the Macs that had a vulnerability, and based off of the data that is stored in SCCM, we were able to run reports and very quickly find the Macs that were running antiquated versions that were vulnerable and very easily able to deploy.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And so with that, I'd like to open it up to the audience. Again, if you don't mind using the microphone, it will help us to hear you as you talk about your questions.
You would mind going back to the previous
Oh, is the mic on?
Yeah,
test?
it works.
Okay. If you would mind going back to the previous slide where you listed out those features, I just had a question.
No, previous.
Yeah,
This
this-
one?
No, that one right there. Yeah, on remote assistance, you had made a statement about some level of remote assistance. Could you just
Yeah.
elaborate a little bit on?
Yeah,
on
so
what the
effectively
capabilities are?
what we do is very simple. We have a VNC viewer bundled with our application, which we install together with those SCCM extensions, SCCM console extensions on your administrator's console. So on the Mac, you can right-click it and say remote access, similar to opening an RDP session to your Windows PC. And effectively what happens, we will configure and enable the VNC access on the Mac, because by default it's disabled. We will enable it for that time. We will set up specific certificates to securely connect to it and enable that connection. So you will see that Mac right from your SCCM.
What if you already have ARD? Can you utilize ARD with it?
We don't integrate with ARD. Right now, we provide that through VNC connection.
And just to clarify, in addition to VNC, we also provide SSH access as well. So.
Yes, please.
Thanks for the presentation today. It was really good. A question: we're looking at we're almost entirely Windows, but we're looking at implementing a very limited scale of Macs specifically for Apple's configurator tool. I work for a public school system, and iPads are coming in, and right now we have no way of managing them. So we're looking for some solutions. And one of the things that we realize right now is because configurator is sort of proprietary to Apple, there's not a whole lot we can do about that as far as managing the iPad devices, as far as delivering apps. Right. So what we decided was we'd go ahead and allow this small number of Macs into our environment, but now what we want to do is really lock them down, because we're not a Mac shop. We don't really want to be necessarily, but we recognize that this is a solution that Apple provides.
Right.
So your profile editor that you have here, does that give you the ability to limit sort of the range of applications that an end user on a Mac can use, so that, for example, if we wanted to make it possible to only launch, iTunes and Configurator and Safari, could we do that using this tool here?
I think I can answer this question. You can lock down many settings using configuration profiles. But in your example, when you want to have just specific list of applications which could be launched, this feature is usually called like whitelisting of applications. Currently, it's not supported by macOS configuration profiles, but we are actually planning to implement this feature as part of our client software which we install on the Mac. So to answer your question, as of today, there is no way to prevent an application from being launched. But it's coming very soon, actually.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the floor?
For File Vault, does that still store the password with Apple, or is there a way to store it locally as far as like the recovery key goes?
For File Vault,
For File Vault, you create a certificate, an open certificate and closed certificate. The closed certificate you store with you as an administrator, and the open certificate you deliver to those Macs. So if your users lose their passwords and they can't access them, you can get that stored closed certificate and apply it to that Mac to de-encrypt it.
But that's stored with Apple, correct?
No. That's stored. That's
you are responsible. The private key, you are responsible for storing this key.
Actually, I have a question to Charles, and the question is a bit provocative. Charles, do you have any problems in using our solution right now? Anything you really lack of?
Yes. I have 2 pain points with this product. One is related to reporting. I would like better reporting. I have to do a lot of SSRS work to get the reports that I really want. But the good thing about that is, in the other slide, it was part of something that they're working on. The other pain point is OSD. I would like to push images to my Mac as they become onboarded. And that's also coming tomorrow, as the slide said. So I do have pain points, but hopefully they're not very long in time.
And so effectively, Charles is, to us, with Yuri, as a development organization in our company, Charles is one of our customers, similar to you guys. And so he delivered this to us, and this is why we are working on that. So we would like to ask you if you have any requests or you see any problems during evaluation of our product, to deliver this feedback as early as possible, that we can include it in our plans and to deliver that functionality to you. Because we really listen to your feedback.
I'm not that guy, but I saw certificates up there, and I spoke to you guys in the expo hall. Can you deploy identity-based certs, set up 802.1x type network connections over the air for Macs as they enroll to get these secured wireless or LAN profiles?
It's a good question. Can we?
I believe we will take this question and answer in details after the session while contacting. We have this guy here who can answer it in details, but not from here.
Any other questions? Any other comments about the product? Thank you. So thank you for attending the session. I hope that you've learned a bit about our product and a bit about how you might manage your Macs, your mobile devices in your respective enterprises. We'll be just outside the room if any of you have further questions that you want to ask privately. And also, please reference our website. The web address is here, parallels.com/SECM. So for the rest of the day and the weekend, have fun, and good luck out there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.